Hi, my beautiful crew. Today I wanted to talk about perspectives on reality because I've been going back and reading some of my old books, and right now I'm rereading Delores Cannon's book, The Convoluted Universe. If you haven't checked that out, I highly suggest you do. She's absolutely amazing. And she's really one of my favorites to remind myself that we're shifting and moving into different perspectives on dimensions all of the time, creating realities and then exiting those realities in order to jump timelines and learn other tools to create new ones. Delores Cannon was a hypnotherapist that took her patients into the deepest state of hypnotherapy. That's just before the coma state, and it's called the somnambulistic state. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. Most most hypnotherapists won't allow their patients to go into the state because it's full of confusion for the therapist, and the patients we're starting to go into past lives and talk about God and other lifetimes and even other life forms, their incarnations on other planets, and so on. So she really wasn't a person that went into she wasn't a medium. She was a hypnotherapist, and so it really I like her perspective because it's a different one on like how I'm talking to other people on the other side. She doesn't do any of that, and that's kind of objective, really. And she doesn't do any of that. She's taking thousands of documents from other people and interviews and putting them all into her own. So it kind of it goes into kind of what I do, which I really like because it's a bunch of other people going into like deep hypnotherapy sessions and states. And that's really, it's like the same thing, going into your conscious, deep into your conscious. So more and more patients were going into these states, and there were people that didn't even know one another from different places on the planet with all different backgrounds. Her research led her down the path to ask questions from all of these people, and she used the answers to create books on her research and led her down this road to create this thing called Quantum Healing Hypnosis Therapy, or QHHT. Today, there are many hypnotherapists trained and certified in this specific type of healing method, and it's what's called past life regression. I had this done a few years ago, and let me tell you, it was the most calm and serene state of meditation, and it's pretty intense and deep kind of meditative state. There, I was able to see all the perspective on stages in my life that I was asked to enter. My higher self, I'd like to say the part of myself that's in complete oneness with God is the one in control here. So there's this calmness like I've never felt before, as I said, and you come into this certain view or perspective on your own life, and it's understandable why and how this connection has the ability to heal all wounds, because it really does, and answer all the questions from a higher wisdom that I didn't even know existed within myself at the time. Delores Cannon talks about the splitting of the earth, the 3D earth into 5D, and what she's learned from her thousands and now probably more into the millions of sessions, where they say these people say that they heard the call of the earth and felt compelled to incarnate here to help Earth make the shift from three-dimensional consciousness into the fifth dimension. So we as a whole are pulling Earth from three-dimensional consciousness into the fifth dimension altogether. And some say that this has happened before, and some say that this has never happened before. Regardless, all time and space runs simultaneously, so I don't think that matters. Right now on our beautiful planet, we are seeing the signs of this split. So we're learning to see the negative and the positive and live in the middle zone, where one can understand the reasons that you are able to observe this polarization in humanity and in the universe. We're now learning about who we are as a human race. We've been subjected to oppressions, or why we've been subjected to oppressions, in order to finally see the other side and stand up for ourselves. which I think everybody's starting to do right now. We're all starting to realize our ability and take the stance on one end or the other in one lifetime. So on one lifetime, you could have had a certain stance on a subject, and then in this lifetime, you can have a completely opposite stance. And then come into alignment again with the other role to fill the shoes of our opposition, to fulfill that inner standing, I like to say, as well. Neither is right or wrong, and all is a contribution to the whole, and all is source God, the Alpha and the Omega. Karma, which is so much fun, is the natural harmonizer of the pendulums or swings of duality. Don't underestimate the power of being human, as we are all creators in our own reality, and we experience the lessons and enjoyments of the unknown. We are here we're the exploratory embodiment of God and his creative consciousness, or her creative consciousness. And we realize our ties to the karmic cycle with our consciousness, and when our consciousness reaches that middle zone, and that's the motionless center of the pendulum swing. So there's one end of the pendulum that goes up, and then it swings the other way. And we need to know both sides, as I've said in different videos. But karma is kind of, once you hit that middle point, you're able to come into understanding and alignment with all of creation, because you know both sides. Time and space do not exist, so all lives run simultaneously, as we are creators, and we have the ability to experience every timeline that has ever been created. So I remember reading a book a long time ago by Sylvia Browne. I don't know if any of you have read any of her books, but I actually got to go and meet her and listen to a speech that she once had down in Denver. And I remember reading about where she talked about this library of souls, and how on the other side, we were able to search through the library and find specific lifetimes, and actually experience it by jumping into that lifetime and feeling everything as that person experienced it. So, I mean, you could do this for anything or anyone on the other side. And I've heard that, I think, a few different times, called a few different things. It might be like the Akashic records. I'm not really sure, but people call it different things. I usually call it the library or the Akashic records. But I'm assuming it's kind of all one certain space. And you can experience everything. So just think, what if you're experiencing a glimpse of a lifetime right now in this moment? What if all your senses right now in this now moment were another being, or your higher self, or the God spark in you, and you're like that God spark is now standing on the other side in that library searching for answers. And at this moment specifically, you were meant to feel the realization of that. That's pretty trippy to think about. So in this earth split, there's no right or wrong on which earth you stay on or go with. So staying on 3D or going into 5D. Some souls are choosing to stay in the three-dimensional earth because they may have already experienced the fifth dimension. Who's to say that we only move up and we don't move back, since all time and space are objective and there really is no correct answer. Yes, I know, Bashi. So, I mean, we kind of shift back and forth, and that really, because all time and space don't exist, you can move in any dimension or anywhere that you want to. And who's to say that we start from, the first dimension, second dimension, third? Who's to say that we don't go backwards? I mean, we can probably shift all the way around. So, let me see, what else do I have in here? We are able to see all dimensions, even if we don't understand them. And therefore we can't see them all around us. It's perspective anyway. So seeing it one way or another won't be fully understood or truly understood until we are able to fully emotionally embody the oneness of reality. So maybe that's forgiving yourself or others because you realize that your opposition was necessary to help you learn the lesson, or to see that perspective in becoming one with it. Our worst enemies in this lifetime are most likely our closest partners on the other side, because we can trust them on the other side to teach us those specific lessons to begin with. Like a parent doing what's best for their child in order to learn what isn't always the most fun to experience, but it's very important for their survival in the long run. It's all out of love, so we see different stages of consciousness as we grow older. Then we realize why the lesson was needed to appreciate the experience more as an adult. So I remember like getting in trouble as a child and really not understanding why my parents were being so cruel, and now realizing why that was so important and who I became because of that. So as we shift into different dimensional views, we thank our higher selves and God for the ability and opportunities that we have as conscious creators, and as opposed to when we are, I guess, unconsciously creating. So sometimes I'm very aware that I'm creating, and sometimes I'm very completely, in the dark and unaware that I'm creating anything. And then it makes me angry that I've created that to begin with. But then I have to step back and realize why I've created that, and what I needed in that lesson. So we give love and respect to people in that lower dimension and in the higher dimensions for helping us grow and move into different views in order to serve the whole, because we are all a part of reality consciousness. We are all a part of the Alpha and the Omega. We are all a part of God. Once we find that center of the karmic cycle, we find the exit point that we're able to send love to and become whole and relieve ourselves of that karma by the realization and appreciation of that and gratitude for who we are. The opposite of anger and hate is love. The cure and the weapon to let go of the pain is love. And the middle ground that you resonate within gratitude, gratitude for both energies. So you have to realize that there's only anger and hate for someone if there's love there. Now, I mean, you can totally say, well, I don't love that person, so I don't have any love for that person. But it could be a love for something that your ego is hanging on to. It could be that they're attacking. It could be a love for that person in general. It's all about perspective. But the only reason why there's hate is because there's love on the other side of that. So we have to realize that. So we're coming into, this is what's very important in this video. We're coming into a very intense but important part of our journey as a whole. Please remember that although it may be, maybe it feels lower in vibration right now, you have the ability to shift into a higher perspective at any time and let go of that past karma in order to move beyond the worlds or those dimensions into more comfortable and perspective places in our process. This is why I say the crazier it gets, the more people will wake up. So that's why it's so exciting to me when it gets pretty crazy. This is an important time for realization as the pendulum swings back. Now you have the ability to shift that perspective and walk in the middle line and anchor yourself in this now moment. Raise higher or lower if that's what you feel that you need to do right now, and help shift yourself into a reality that you can easily mold and create from. So I want to give you that message today and let you know that I think we're all kind of going through this really crazy funk, and we're all seeing a lot of craziness on the planet right now, which isn't the most exciting. But it's really important as a whole that we remember who we are. And in order to do that, we have to go through these crappy times, and we have to go through the really good times, and we have to go through, everything in between, and really feel that. And sometimes, like especially when my kids come to me and they're hurting, it's really upsetting, and it's really hard for me to not want to fix it for them. But the only thing that I can do sometimes, and especially recently, is just be like, you know what, I I have been there before. I have felt that feeling of despair. I have felt that before, and it's okay to feel. And it's actually really important to feel and to get through, because we have to know both sides in order to be able to have that perspective of the middle ground, and really have gratitude for who we are. And yeah, I think that was my message for today. And I want to tell you that I'm hoping that at some point, I had a video for you last week. I know, Bashi, it's rough. I had a video for you last week, and it was my one of my twins, my 21-year-olds, for Mystic Conversations with Awakening Stoners. And I have to say, it was probably one of the best interviews that I've ever had. But she was struggling a little bit with me putting that out there, which is completely fine. So I did not put it out. And I apologize for you guys not having a video, but I think, just like we're learning, I think it's more important for her to feel comfortable, and for me to feel comfortable with what I'm putting out there, that, I'm not pressuring anybody, and it makes all of us comfortable, and that's okay. And if that means that I'm not going to be able to put out a video because somebody's not comfortable with the content on there, then so be it. And at some point, maybe she'll let me put it up, because it was really pretty awesome. She's such an enlightened, I don't want to say she's completely enlightened. That's not what I mean. But she's really on this crazy journey of finding out who she is. And it is so, so cool to watch. I swear on everything, my kids are so much smarter than me, which is a good thing. And I appreciate every moment that I have with them for teaching me the things that that I've had to go through, and as a parent. And they're not always the most fun, but I've learned the most about who I am through going through those things. So I'm sending you guys all love. Know that we are going through some really exciting times, even though it feels like they're not so exciting. This is going to shift us one way or the other, and into a different perspective. And like I said before, neither perspective is bad. It's all good. And I'm just excited for what's going to happen next. And it's going to be pretty shocking, and it's really exciting. But I'll have to go through a video. I also wanted to go through and do a video on the dark cabal, and kind of the different systems that we are all have been subjected to, and why and how they're all falling, and how they kind of started, or at least give you a little bit of information so that you can start diving into some of those things, and seeing, what you think on your, this is about your own perspective, because in reality, your perspective is what is going to shift you into different creations, I'll say. And I'm just excited. I'll say that. So anyway, welcome to your Ascension Creator. I will see you on the next video.